Find the biggest voices in sport on the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Like Podium Athletics with me, Katie Smith, Rich Newman and Hannah England.
As the World Athletics Championships take place in Tokyo, we've got you covered. We'll be releasing daily previews and reviews for the fortnight surrounding the champs, and you can catch up with all the big name interviews leading up to it.
Search Podium Athletics and listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Did you know that most people who listen to this podcast on a regular basis haven't followed the show yet? If you're one of those people, please give the podcast a quick follow, will you? And in the process, if you're feeling really generous, hit that 5-star review button as well. Welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees, and welcome to yet another brand new episode. I hope you've enjoyed all the episodes that have been released recently. And remember, if you sign up to Patreon, you get some episodes released early, you get exclusive episodes, and of course, you can listen to every single episode completely ad-free, and you can link it to your Apple Podcast or Spotify account. So if you want all of those perks and you fancy supporting an independent person like me, then please consider signing up in those places. There's a link in the description of this episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Fergie Time. Now, for the adults listening to this, when I say Fergie Time, you're probably laughing or smirking. There's probably some moments in your memory which are coming back to you where you think, that Alex Ferguson, he was a crafty one. And that is what we're going to be talking about in this episode. Fergie Time. Some of those magical last-minute Manchester United minutes. The tapping of the watch and the sneaky moments of Sir Alex Ferguson. And some of the most memorable moments where Fergie Time really seemed to exist. Before we get into this episode properly, a massive shout out to everybody who's hit the follow button and left a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or replied to some of the episodes on Spotify. A few of those are here. So the first one is a massive shout out to Charlie Ainsworth, who says, "Hi, my name is Charlie Ainsworth. I'm 8 years old, and a big shout out to Picknell First School in Uttertoxeter, Staffordshire, and Dorish Bears and Riders, my football team." Have I just butchered that? Uttertoxeter. Uttertoxeter? Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie. You know what I'm like with pronunciations. Anyway, Staffordshire and Dorish Bears and Riders, the football team and every single person in it. A massive shout out to you, the coaches, and every single person you know. I hope you have a wonderful season. And Charlie, thank you so much for being a listener of the Football for Kids podcast. Next up, it says, "Hi Darren, my name is Miller Calder. I'm 11 and I live in Auckland, New Zealand, and I play for West Coast Rangers. Could you please do an episode on Jack Butterfield, the ex-Leicester City player? He scores some bangers when they're needed. Thanks, from Miller." Well, Miller, a massive shout out to you and to everybody listening in New Zealand, and of course to your football team, West Coast Rangers. And the last one on this episode, before we really get going with the show, is this one. It says, "Hi, can I get a shout out please? My name is Gavin and I live in Ireland. I play for Ben Bulburn FC. And can you please give a shout out to my friends?" Well, Gavin, and to everybody at your football team, and of course Rory, Donica, Eli and Finn, a massive shout out to you lot and to your coaches and to everybody that you know and everybody that you play football with. Gavin, thank you so much for getting in contact with Football for Kids. Thank you for being a listener, and I really hope that you enjoy this episode. So, Fergie Time. It originated from one of the greatest football managers of all time, Sir Alex Ferguson. I've done a 2-parter on Sir Alex Ferguson, and that 2-parter has been listened to over 100,000 times. So you may well have heard those episodes and know all about Sir Alex. But just in case you're maybe new to the show, or maybe even new to football, let me give you a brief summary of Sir Alex Ferguson. It's important to understand who he is and what he achieved before we get into the subject of Fergie Time. Sir Alex Ferguson was the Manchester United manager for nearly 27 years. He won 38 trophies for the club. Yes, you heard me right, 38 trophies. He dominated the Premier League for a very long time. He won the first ever treble in English football, and he was a no-nonsense manager, and he managed some of the biggest characters and the biggest stars that football has ever seen. From David Beckham to Eric Cantona, Wayne Rooney to Cristiano Ronaldo, Roy Keane to Paul Scholes. The list goes on and on and on. Now, the term Fergie Time, what does that mean exactly, and how did it come about? Well, if you ask different people this, I can guarantee they'll give you different answers depending on how keen they are, one, on Sir Alex Ferguson, and how much they like Manchester United or they don't. Firstly, Sir Alex Ferguson always wore a watch, and some of the most iconic pictures of him, no matter what the stadium was, he would be there tapping his watch. However, the circumstances which Alex Ferguson would be tapping his watch in would change from game to game. When United were losing, or maybe even drawing, Sir Alex Ferguson did an incredible job of putting an unbelievable amount of pressure on the officials. And some people would say that the extra time that would be added would not have been added if it wasn't Sir Alex Ferguson. But he had a way of getting time added onto that clock. Just what some people would say. Now, when the board went up for 5 minutes of extra time, which, let me tell you, used to be quite rare before the VAR days, Sir Alex Ferguson would be in his technical box screaming at his team, leading them to do the right thing, and almost always, somehow, in some sort of way, they would find a goal to equalise, and quite often find another goal to win the game. In fact, it was frightening how often this happened. United would sometimes be 2-0 down, and it would be the 89th minute. Sir Alex Ferguson would have an enthusiastic chat with the officials pitch side, and then a whopping great amount of stoppage time would go up onto the board. And then, well, you guessed it, United would hit the back of the net as many times as they needed to. However, in other times, when United were in a tight game, leading by 1-0, and it was the 88th minute or into extra time, Sir Alex Ferguson would be having a quiet word with the officials and encouraging the referee to blow his whistle. Fergie time. It worked both ways. The watch tap and the term Fergie time since then has become iconic. But football is about more than tactics. It's about what's happening on the pitch and those little 1% wins which happen off the pitch. And Sir Alex Ferguson was one of the greatest managers to do it. Lots of people have asked this question. Did United really get more time? Well, I can tell you, there was a study commissioned by the BBC in 2012, and they actually found some truth in Fergie time law. On average, Manchester United were given 4 minutes 37 seconds of added time when trailing, compared to the 3 minutes 18 seconds when winning. In other words, referees tended to allow about another 79 seconds more injury time if United were behind. But to be fair, the study noted other top teams often got similar late advantages at home. But United's case were the most famous. Whether coincidence or influence, many crucial Manchester United goals arrived after the 90-minute mark. Fergie time became so synonymous with late drama that the term is now part of the football vocabulary. So, when you hear Fergie time, in a nutshell, that is what it refers to. The great Sir Alex Ferguson. Some serious watch tapping and some clever off the field tactics. But don't you worry, the episode doesn't end here. I've got 3 of the greatest Fergie time winners and moments in Sir Alex Ferguson's time at Manchester United as manager. If you're listening on Apple Podcast subscription or Patreon, there'll be no adverts for you. But for everyone else, we'll be back after this break. Okay, here we go then. The first Fergie time moment. It was the 10th of April, 1993. Manchester United 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. It was in the Premier League. This match is remembered as the birth of Fergie time. United were 1-0 down at Old Trafford when their captain, Steve Bruce, scored a header in the 85th minute to make it 1-1. Then, unbelievably, he scored another header in the 96th minute to win the game 2-1. So much added time was played that Sheffield Wednesday's manager, Trevor Francis, joked afterwards that his team had basically played a second extra time and the referee just kept things going until United had the time to find a winner. When Bruce's goal went in, manager Sir Alex Ferguson and his assistant Brian Kidd celebrated like mad. They leaped onto the pitch in joy, jumping up and down with their arms above their heads. That victory turned out to be huge. It kept United on course to win the 92-93 league title. From that day on, people believed that Manchester United never gave up until the very last whistle. And that really was the moment that Fergie Time was born.
Bruce, yes! Unbelievable! There's still a bit to be done for Brian Kidd and Alex Ferguson are almost celebrating the championship. They've come back.
Okay, our second one, 20th of September 2009. Manchester United 4, Manchester City 3. This was one of the most dramatic Manchester derbies ever. And it was decided long after the 90 minutes were up. Right into Fergie Time. United were leading 3-2. But right on the 90th minute, City's Craig Bellamy scored to make it 3-3. The referee showed there would be 4 minutes of added time. But the game went on even longer. Then, deep into stoppage time, in the 96th minute, Michael Owen scored to make it 4-3 for Manchester United. His goal came 5 minutes and 26 seconds into injury time, which left the City manager Mark Hughes absolutely fuming.
Up towards Ferdinand, cleared away as far as Ryan Giggs, who's placed one for Michael Owen! Oh, this is incredible! Beyond added time, Michael Owen with his first Old Trafford goal for Manchester United makes the place erupt! They're appealing for the whistle, and there it is! The conclusion of one of the...
Okay, our very last one. And arguably one of the greatest comebacks ever in sporting history, never mind footballing history. You know which one I'm going for. The 26th of May 1999, the UEFA Champions League final at Barcelona Stadium. This is probably the most famous Fergie Time moment in history. Manchester United were losing 1-0 to Bayern Munich as the game went into injury time. Then, in the 91st minute, Teddy Sheringham scored to make it 1-0. Just 2 minutes later, in the 93rd minute, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer poked the ball into the net to make it 2-1. In just over 100 seconds of stoppage time, United had turned certain defeat into one of the greatest victories ever. That win didn't just give them the Champions League trophy, it completed the treble. The Premier League, the FA Cup and the Champions League were all ticked off in the most dramatic way possible. Those two late goals are still seen as the ultimate examples of Fergie Time. It showed the never give up spirit that Sir Alex Ferguson drilled into his team. The comeback at Camp Nou is remembered as one of football's most unforgettable finales.
Giggs plants it back in. Sheringham has equalised for Manchester United. Can you believe this? 91 minutes on the clock, and United are saved. Just when all hope seemed lost, Teddy Sheringham with the equaliser. Poor clearance, Giggs turns it goalwards. Sheringham's instincts did the rest. They've just got one last corner perhaps to survive. Beckham to swing this one in again. Sheringham wins it. Solskjaer with the goal for Manchester United. He's only gone and won the Champions League for them. The impossible just became reality for United. The two substitutes.
Football just tends to take your breath away. I still remember being 10 years old and bouncing around my living room with my mouth wide open watching that game and watching those goals go in. My dad was a Manchester United fan, so I was brought up watching them. And that is one of the most memorable football moments of my life. And I will never, ever forget it. And that is the story of Fergie Time. It wasn't just about Sir Alex Ferguson's watch or adding a few minutes. It was about belief. It was about a team that refused to bow down. A manager who demanded more when others would have settled. And a stadium that roared all the way to the final whistle. Sir Alex Ferguson turned seconds into history. He made time itself bend to his will. From Steve Bruce's goal in 1993 to the miracle in Barcelona to Michael Owen's late winner against City. Those moments weren't accident. They were the product of discipline, hunger and a refusal to give up. For kids listening, take this with you. Whether that's in football, in your own games or in life. The game is not over until it is truly over. Keep fighting, keep dreaming, and you may just find your own Fergie time. And remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.